Hello there, I'm Justin. I hope all of you are doing well today. I've got a fascinating video for you. We're going to be demonstrating a strength power workout for the sport of Muay Thai. This strength power workout is going to demonstrate warm-ups, which includes dynamic movements, neurals, along with a workout spread that includes an Olympic movement, Olympic derivative, plyometrics, ballistics, contrast sets, stability challenges, loaded combinations, and other relevant exercises, along with a cool down that has some dynamic and some static stretches to it. Now let's jump right into it with a little background for the sport of Muay Thai. It's based out of Thailand, and it is also known as Thai boxing, or the art of 8 limbs, and it is a full contact martial arts sport that commonly uses fists, elbows, knees, and shins. And we got weight divisions going up from 100 to 126 pounds, with mini flyweight to featherweight to super welterweight. They generally last about 5 rounds of 3 minutes each, with breaks of 2 minutes each in between rounds. And a big thing to keep in mind is it recruits the aerobic and anaerobic systems in any capacity, whether it's sparring, whether it's weightlifting, whether it's training, or whether it's in the fight itself. The ATP PCR system and the glycolytic systems, their contributions are higher due to the strength and power necessary for explosive, powerful strikes, kicks, sweeps, and other techniques and fighting movements that you'll find in the sport. And you need that aerobic system's contribution in a moderate sense just for a baseline for endurance. Since I alluded to it, there are some very important factors to keep in mind before we get into the main workout. You got striking, so the straight hook and uppercut, they rely on the triple extension of the ankle, knee, and hip to generate force. So developing that triple extension is crucial for kicking, kneeing, and elbowing. The big thing also is that triple extension will be great for generating force within Muay Thai. Muay Thai fighters also rely on reactive strength from the strength shortening cycle, or the SSC. Say that 3 times fast. I know I can't, but I do know that it can result in enhanced propulsive forces, top enhanced power, power endurance, and generating max power through your kicks, through your strikes, through your elbows. As well, you need force generation characteristics for the certain movements, the certain clenching, the certain striking, the certain kicking that is involved within the sport. While we know Muay Thai engages the aerobic and anaerobic systems, we know the baseline for aerobic metabolism. We know we want to train near VO2 max. We know we want to do road work and distance running, shadow boxing, bag work, circuit training, sparring. Those are all aspects of the sport that we need to incorporate to make your fighter better. But a big aspect of Muay Thai fighting is the consistency of how much you spar and train, and how much you train in the gym. As mentioned with the striking and the reactive strength and the force generation, not only do you want cardiovascular endurance to keep your athlete able to fight within the long distance rounds, and especially for later down the line when you're in the final round, you want strength, you want flexibility, and you want explosive power. With strength, you want to do stuff such as increase your squat or deadlift. With flexibility, you want increased motion in your hips, hamstrings, and shoulders. And with explosive power, you want to be able to generate rapid force in a short amount of time. And with this background information in mind, we can begin demonstrating some warm-ups, exercises, and cool-downs that you could utilize in a strength power workout for your Muay Thai athlete. And what better way to develop strength and power within your Muay Thai athlete than with the first warm-up on our list, that being the lateral lunge with the cross reach. Before I go any further, a big thing to keep in mind with your dynamic movements and with your exercises and any lifts that you do, you want to work the multiple planes. You want to work the sagittal, you want to work the frontal, and you want to work the transverse planes, as you want multiplanar strength. Because developing multiplanar strength will make the athlete's body stronger in all planes of motion, and that is very important, especially with kicking, especially with punching, striking, and a lot of the different movements and flexible movements that are involved within the sport. With the lateral lunge, with the cross reach, big thing we're keeping in mind, we're targeting, the glutes, the quads, hams. A big thing we're going to focus on this with the lateral lunge is the hip adductors and the iliopalaces, because we want hip mobility and flexibility when it comes to kicking and when it comes to kneeing and the flexible kicking motions and blocks that you can utilize in your sport. We are also working some upper body muscles. We're working a little bit of the anterior deltoids, a little bit of the lats, a little bit of the chest, a little bit of the mid to low traps, rhomboids area. Big thing also is we're also working the obliques, transverse abdominis, and we're working the erector spinae as well. The lateral lunge with the cross reach is going to improve lateral and rotational movement, and it's going to help with spinal alignment and movement mechanics, which are integral for a lot of the motions and movements and techniques that are going to be utilized within the sport. In order to do the lateral lunge, start shoulder width or a little closer depending on comfortability, what feels comfortable for you. From there, keep one knee straight, the other flexed, and shift your body weight across and down towards the same side as your bent knee, and get as low as comfortably possible until you're able to feel your hip adductors, your iliopalaces. And from there, with the cross reach, a better way of describing is if I go to my left, if I laterally lunge to my left side, I am crossing over with my right arm, and vice versa with the other side. While you are cross reaching, make sure that the left arm, as you are twisting and reaching towards your left leg, is in one fluid motion, so you can get activation within your posterior deltoids, or as the gym rats call the rear delts, and just make sure it's all in one fluid motion. Some things to keep in mind, some common errors. When you're laterally lunging, you're not going deep enough, you're not keeping that torso straight if you're doing a normal lateral lunge, and your knee goes outwards or inwards. That could be improper stance, hip issues, knee issues. So just keep in mind your stance, keep in mind comfortability, and make sure you properly feel the muscle. On top of that, as I alluded to with the cross reach aspect, get a nice deep stretch as much as possible with that cross reach, and also keep one fluid motion with that cross reach, because you don't want a herky-jerky movement with that arm that's rotationally moving as you are reaching over to the other leg. And for a strength power workout, a good warm-up set and rep would be a set of 8 reps total with 4 on each side. I used 5-pound dumbbells within this video, but you could use anything from 5 to 15, or if you're feeling a little frisky, maybe 20-pound if you're strong enough or flexible enough. But anything above that could limit your ability to do the reps properly. You can also do these with 2.5 to 15-pound plates if 15-pound plates are possible. I know the Amped Fitness I go to has 10-pound, 15-pound plates for some reason, so go crazy with that. Next exercise in the warm-up is the split stance RDL, or Romanian deadlift with a T-reach. The Romanian deadlift is going to target your hamstrings, your glutes, your hips, and your erector spinae, and it's also going to work your rear delts and your external rotators. This exercise is great for strengthening and creating flexibility within the listed muscles, and flexibility and mobility within these muscles are crucial for kicking, punching, and rotational movements within the sport of Muay Thai. In order to do the split stance RDL with the T-reach, choose a leg, any leg. We'll go the left leg this time. Hinge your hips back slightly. Keep that back leg nice and stable. Bend a knee that you choose in, let's say, the left leg. Bend a knee a little bit, and slowly lower yourself to where you get activation within your hamstrings, And while you are slowly lowering yourself, bring those dumbbells or plates, whichever you choose, or if you're just getting used to this movement, your arms, and externally rotate your shoulders to where you feel activation within your external rotators and your anterior deltoids. A good thing to keep in mind with the T-reach is when you are turning, you want to turn your your thumbs, if you will, towards your back traps, if you will. So if you wanted to internally rotate, you want to turn your elbows towards your chest. In this instance, with a T-reach, you want to externally rotate your shoulders or have your thumbs go towards your back or traps. Some common errors with the split stance RDL include not hinging your hips, not bending your knee, not lowering yourself in a straight manner, so not engaging your core, keeping that core tight and your back flat. And with T-reach, not keeping yourself in a cross position, because you don't want to go any lower, as if you're going, why are you doing this to me? Or bringing your arms up into a Y position, because that's a different type of stretch. That's a Y stretch, and that's going to activate different muscles. On top of that, not rotating those thumbs towards your back. And a good rep range for this would be maybe 1 set of 8 reps with 4 reps on each side. You can utilize 5 to 15 pound dumbbells, and same thing as last time, you can also incorporate 2.5 to 10 to 15 pound plates if you have those available. And if you're just starting out with a lift or with this exercise, just getting yourself used to the motion is important, so body weight is also a very applicable thing. Now we're going to work with the reverse lunge with the same side rotation. This is a great exercise to target the quads, to target the glutes, and also work the erector spinae and the obliques, and work on rotational movement of the spine and help utilize rotational movements for kicking purposes within Muay Thai. In order to do a reverse lunge with the same side or ipsilateral rotation, you want to stand about shoulder width, holding the medicine ball or plate depending on your preference. Take 1 large step back as you're lunging down. Bring that knee to the ground or close to the ground. And as you're doing that, if I'm starting out with the left leg being my leading leg and I'm going back with my right leg, twist in one fluid motion the medicine ball towards your left. And then from there, once you're on the ground or in the bottom position, fluidly bring that motion back up. So fluidly bring the ball up and bring yourself back to the starting position and repeat. Some common errors to keep in mind with a reverse lunge: too far back of a step. That's going to be more of a broad reverse lunge. That's going to activate more of your hip adductors, iliopalacis, which is not the target of this, but that can be utilized for other lifts and can be utilized for your Muay Thai athlete. Also, too narrow of a step back, you're not going to gain the strength and flexibility benefits that you're going to get within your quads and your glutes. On top of that, when you are rotating in the same side, not having it as one fluid motion. So when you're stepping back, as you're stepping back, rotate. Keep it one fluid motion. You don't want it to be a jagged, oh, I stepped back and now I rotate as I'm at the bottom. Keep everything one fluid motion, because you're also going to be working coordination and stability. And a good rep range for this exercise is 1 set of 8 reps with in total with 4 reps on each side. You could utilize a 25 to 45 pound medicine ball or 25 to 45 pound plate. For our next exercise in the warm-up, we are going to be targeting the medicine ball hamstring curl. As the name alludes, kind of gave it away. It works the quads. No, I'm kidding. It works the hamstrings. It works strength and flexibility of the hamstring, glutes, and core, which are integral for kicking power and strength. In order to do these hamstring curls properly, you want to squeeze your glutes, keep your core tight, lift your ass off the ground, and curl that ball towards you. And towards you to where you can feel your hamstrings properly while keeping your upper back off of the ground and lowering yourself down to where your glutes do not touch the ground, and preferably your erector spinae lower back doesn't touch the ground as well. I think these are called foozy balls, or let's just call them a bouncy ball for a video. I use a bouncy ball in this video. It is a lot easier to use a harder medicine ball, preferably a 25 to 45 pound medicine ball, but you can utilize these bouncy balls for added stability challenge on top of the stability challenge that you get from your core, from your hamstrings. And on top of that, you're also gaining strength and flexibility within your hamstrings, within your glutes, within your hip flexors, adductors specifically, and your core. A common error with these medicine ball hamstring curls is your ass is on the ground. Sorry, can't do that. That is a no-no. Keep your glutes and your lower back off the ground. And on top of that, you don't have to necessarily do this exercise fast. Try to slowly bring that weight up and slowly bring that weight back down while keeping your upper body nice and stable on the floor. Finally, a good rep range for this exercise is one set of 10 reps or up to 15 reps total. There is also the single leg variation where you can do maybe 10 to 12 reps total with 5 to 6 reps on each leg. And preferably you want to use a 25 to 45 pound medicine ball, but if you want to be crazy like I am, use a bouncy ball for that added stability challenge. And for our final dynamic exercise within our warm-ups, we have the single leg glute bridge with a rear delt fly. If you couldn't tell by the name, we're working the glutes, baby, because we are developing power within the glutes, and this exercise is great for explosive movements such as, jumps and kicks that are very common within Muay Thai. We're also working, the hip flexors, so the adductors. Once again, that's just, a fancy name for the glutes. We're working on mobility and extension within those glutes. And on top of that, we are working the rear delts. We're working, the posterior deltoids. We're working a little bit of the traps. We're working mid to low traps, so the rhomboids on top of that. And there is that added stability challenge. So there is a level of core activation to this exercise. In order to do this exercise properly, you want to lie flat on the floor and with one leg fully extended, not bent, raise your glutes, raise your lower body or your lower back to where you flex your glutes, and keep those glutes flexed while you keep that leg straight up at the top. And while you are doing that, you are also rear delt flying at the same time. When we talk about the fluidity of the movement and the stability challenge that comes about, this is very similar to reverse lunge in that you want to keep one fluid motion when you are doing everything. Some common errors to keep in mind with a single leg glute bridge with a rear delt fly: not properly flexing your glutes at the top. The big thing to keep in mind is when you look at somebody doing the exercise from the side, you want them to look similar to a straight line, like as if an arrow is being pointed towards the sky. So if they're not properly flexing their glutes at the top, there's going to be a dip of their hips and their lower body at the top position. On top of that, straight leg is flexed. You want to keep that leg straight at all times. On top of that, there's foot placement. Too close or too far will not give you a stable enough base to flex your glutes properly. And on top of that, similar to the reverse lunge with the same side rotation, you want this to be one fluid motion. You want to activate your glutes and your rear delts at the same time. So in order to do that and match the stability demands and the coordination demands of this exercise, fluidly flex your glutes and flex your rear delts at the same time. One set of 10 reps on each leg, so 20 total reps, is a good set and rep range to utilize this exercise. properly. And on top of that, bands are probably your best way to go. You want to have enough tension on the band to properly activate the rear delts, to work the flexibility and strength aspect of the rear delts. Too much tension on the band could limit your ability to do the reps properly while you are doing the simultaneous single leg glute bridge, and too light, you might not be able to properly activate the rear delts. Now we go into the neural section of our warm-ups. Quick tangent on the neurals. Neurals are great for priming the central nervous system and will better prepare the body for heavy weight that will be utilized in the strength power workout. For our first neural workout, we are doing the jump rope. The jump rope is very similar to pogos, especially pogos with minimal knee flexion, because we are working on ankle stiffness and tendon stiffness around the ankles. It works on footwork and coordination as well. Due to the nature of this exercise, that working on quick ground contact time, minimal knee flexion, and going for as many reps as possible, and the fact that it's similar to pogos, it is great for developing power and generating power over a period of time. This exercise is great with 2 sets of as many reps as possible, between 35 to 45, 60 seconds. And you can use a jump rope, and if you want to increase the intensity, you can use a weighted jump rope. The next exercise in our dynamic warm-up is the hip-ups. The hip-ups are a great exercise for generating explosive power and driving that power in an upwards fashion, especially from the hips. And we need that power for the hips, especially for kicking motions within the sport of Muay Thai. Hip-ups can be best done within 2 sets of 5 reps, and you can do it with body weight or with weights if you are advanced. Next, we have the split stance drop lunge. So what you do, get into lunge position, and from there rapidly switch in position and do it for a desired amount of reps. This exercise is great for activating and creating mobility and flexibility within the glutes and within the quads, and gaining powerful explosive movements from the glutes and the quads. As well, this quick change of direction and the quickness of it, if you will help generate explosive power within strikes such as the kicks and the knees in Muay Thai. Some common errors with this exercise include not lunging in place, so going to side, or way too forward or way too back instead of lunging in place, and starting too wide or too close and leaning too forward with the starting position of your spine. Split stance drop lunges can be utilized for 2 sets of 6 reps on each side, 12 reps total, and are generally done with body weight. For the final exercise within the neural portion of the warm-ups, we have the clean cycle. So in the preceding videos, I do 2 sets of 5 reps for barbell clean pulls, barbell hang high pulls, and barbell hang cleans. With each of these exercises, you are hinging the hips, keeping the torso tight, chest up, bending the knees, and exploding that bar up with your legs. The big thing is with the clean pull, you don't bend the arms. With that high pull, you bend your arms and finish up with the bar in a up, as if you're holding an upright trap position. But keep in mind, you are only using the legs to drive the bar up, not your arms. And with the barbell cleans, you are rapidly turning your elbows over. Some common errors with each of these include using your arms to drive the bar up, not hinging the hips back properly, and not turning those elbows over in an efficient manner. And these could be done with 2 sets of 5 reps each, and they should be done with 50, 55, and 60% of your 1 rep max clean. For our first main exercise in the strength power workout, we are doing the deadlift. It targets the posterior chain, includes the glutes, hamstrings, lower back, and the core, along with some of the upper body muscles. It is great for developing strength and power within those muscles, especially within the glutes and the hamstrings. And developing that explosive power within the glutes and hamstrings is integral for kicking motions within Muay Thai. In order to do the deadlift, you need to hinge your hips back and slightly up. Don't squat into the deadlift. Keep your core tight, keep your chest up, flex your upper back, and then lift up. And do it for a desired amount of reps, A common error that you'll find is squatting into the deadlift and lower back rounding. Some upper back rounding can happen with heavier weight, but it's generally advised not to round the upper back. And a good rep range for a strength power workout would be 5-5-4-4 for 4 sets at 85, 85, 90, and 92.5% of your 1 rep max. Next, we are going to do the power clean. Similar to the hand clean variations that we did earlier, it is great at generating power from the hips and the legs, and it also is great for generating triple extension of the hips, knees, and ankles, which are very important for kicking motions within the sport of Muay Thai. In a position similar to the deadlift, with the hips a little slightly down, with your core tight and your chest up, use your hips to drive the bar up, and just like the hand clean, turn your elbows over and land in a quarter squat position to further activate the muscles of the lower body. Common errors with the power clean include not hinging the hips back, not keeping that core tight, not flexing up that upper body, and specifically using more of your upper body to lift the weight instead of using your hips to drive the bar up. A good rep scheme for a strength power workout for power cleans is 3x5-4-4 with 80, 85, and 90% of your 1 rep max. And when I talk about the 80 to 92.5 percentile of your 1 rep max of these lifts, these are great lifts to work both strength and power. Next, we have the hang clean and the front squat. The hang clean, its benefits have been previously stated, especially for hip and power generation. The front squat is also great at activating the muscles of the upper body, especially the anterior deltoids and the internal rotators, and generation of power from the hips and strengthening of the upper body is great for kicking and striking. As stated with the hang clean earlier, make sure to hinge those hips back and use your hips to drive up the bar, and from there keep your elbows as high as possible, keep your core tight, and drive that bar down to activate your quads and your glutes, and drive that bar back up. Slowly bring the bar back to your shins and repeat the exercise. Some common errors include not hinging the hips and not lifting your elbows high enough to control the bar. A good rep range for this exercise, especially in the strength power setting, is 3x4, 3-3 with a load of 80, 85, and 90% of your clean, as that will make it an easier time to drive that bar up with your hips and then actually control that bar down on the squat. Next, we have the barbell RDL, which is great for developing the muscles of the hams, glutes, the erector spinae, and the core. It is especially great at generating power from the glutes and the hamstrings, which is great for kicking and rapid footwork. In order to do the barbell RDL quickly, you got to hinge your hips back, bend your knees, keep your chest up and your core tight, and slowly lower the bar just past your knees so you can feel that tension on the hamstrings, and then slowly bring that weight back up. Some common issues with the barbell RDL include not hinging the hips, not bending the knees, that could be a straight-legged variation, and not keeping that core and upper back sturdy. A good rep range for the barbell RDLs in this type of workout would be 3x5-4-4 with 85, 90 to 92.5% of your 1 rep max. The next exercise on the list is a barbell back squat into an explosive push-up. This is known as a contrast set. It is a strength movement followed by a dynamic and explosive exercise. A big component of why this is placed here in the strength power workout is for force velocity, so generating explosive force. And this could be used to generate explosive force in your kicks and in your strikes for Muay Thai. In order to do this, with the barbell back squat, make sure to lift heavy, close to your 1 rep max. Keep hinge your hips, keep your chest up and your core tight. Squat below parallel, keep that bar up or down, and from there, put the weight back, and then do several reps of explosive push-ups where you try to minimize ground contact time, which makes it a great plyometric exercise. Some common errors with this exercise include not being explosive with the plyometric push-up and doing more of a traditional push-up. You want to be quick on the ground contact time with that push-up. similar to how you're quick on the ground contact time with the pogos or the jump rope. And on top of that, with the barbell back squat, not hinging your hips, not keeping your core tight, rounding of the lower back, rounding of the upper back, and not squatting below parallel are common errors. Good set and rep range for this would be 3x5-4-4 of the barbell back squat at 85, 90, and 92% of your 1 rep max, followed by 6-8 reps of your explosive push-ups. For our next exercise, we are doing medicine ball box jumps. Medicine ball box jumps activate the muscles of the lower body, especially the glutes and the quads, and with the stability challenge of with the medicine ball, activates the muscles of the upper body. This is a great exercise for strengthening and activating the lower body and upper body, great for strikes and kicks. Since this is a ballistic exercise and is classified as explosive training, it will help in neuromuscular activation, help in an individual's ability to accelerate objects, and improve rate of force development. In order to do this, get into a squat position or a little bit of a quarter squat, jump up onto the box with the ball, holding it right about chest level, and then drop back down. There's not much you could really do to mess up other than not getting into that quarter squat position and not landing properly. That is more of a you problem. No, I'm kidding. There's some coordination aspects to it. If you jump with both feet, land on both feet. And a good rep range for this is 3x5 with a 15 to 45 pound medicine ball. Next on the list is the single RDL into a dumbbell row. This is a great stability challenge, and it is also great for activating the hamstrings and the glutes and the lats. And those two muscles are very important for kicking and striking. So challenging any imbalances within those muscles and improving flexibility and strength within those muscles are integral, and it makes this an important exercise. In order to do the exercise, hinge the knee, hinge the hip, or bend the knee back, and then slowly lower that dumbbell as you keep that back leg straight. For example, if you are using your right leg, hinge your hip, bend the knee back a little bit, lower that dumbbell down, keeping that core tight, that upper back straight. And once you're in that extended position where you could feel that stretch in your hamstring, row. And then bring yourself back up and do it all over again. Similar to the RDL, not hinging the hips, not bending the knees, not keeping the core tight, and not keeping the chest up are common issues. And a good rep range for this exercise is sets of 6-6-4-4 total reps, or 3-3-2-2 reps on each arm and each leg. And a good load would be 75, 80, and 85% of your 1 rep max of the single arm RDL. Next on the list are cable rotational twists from the low to high position. These are sneaky great exercises because rotational on core strength is necessary for balance, stability, and generating power from the ground up. When we talk about that triple extension of a punch, you're generating force from the lower to the upper portion. So, for example, if you're doing an uppercut, generating power from the hips and going low to high, this exercise is great at utilizing that power and that rotational generation, generating power from that rotational movement for those kicks and uppercuts that go from low to high. And these can be also implemented for high to low variations, such as you chopping or doing certain motions like you're punching from the high position to a low position, or doing a kick from a high to low position. To do this exercise properly, grab a cable by the handle or bands if you don't have a cable, and starting from the side of your hip, rotate up, controlling and keeping your core tight as if you're reaching a scepter to the sky, and then slowly bring it back down, keeping that core tight at all times because you want to be able to activate your erector spinae, your obliques, your transverse abdominis, and have a little activation with the upper body. And a good rep range for this is 3x6 on each side with 12 reps total at 75, 80, and 85% of your 1 rep max of your cable rotational twist. For the final exercise before cool downs, we are doing hanging leg raises. Hanging leg raises are great for core strength as we need to generate power from the core in order to do a lot of kicking and punching movements. On top of that, we are gaining power within the hip flexors, and those are especially important for kicking motions. I am doing a variation where I have my elbows down because I had a slight tinge in my elbow that made it uncomfortable for me to hang, but the hanging portion of the hanging leg raise can allow you to stretch and mobilize the core or the muscles of your upper body, which are integral for striking and punching. This exercise is perfectly done with a 5x6 with body weight at the end of your workout. Now we will end the video off with a section about cooldowns. Cooldowns are great for improving flexibility, for muscle recovery, for decreasing the heart rate, for getting blood flow back to the muscles, for preventing great accumulations of lactic acid in the muscles, reducing the chance of potential delayed onset muscle soreness, but that's for extreme cases, honestly, but it is a benefit, and most importantly, it will help prevent injuries. And what better way to start than with the body weight good morning? The body weight good morning is great for developing strength, but in this instance, great for mobility and flexibility of the hamstrings, the erector spinae, the glutes, and the core, all muscles that we have been hammering to death in this strength power workout. A good set and rep range is 2 sets of 10 reps, and generally body weight is good, but you could utilize 2.5 to 5 pound dumbbells or plates. Next on the list is the body weight scorpion stretch. This is a great move for stretching the hip flexors and the erector spinae. The scorpion stretch is great for spinal rotation, for activating the glutes, for stretching out the glutes. It works a little bit of the core. And the big thing about this exercise is the spinal rotation and hip flexor mobility. A good set and rep range would be 2 sets of 10 reps for 5 reps on each side, and this can be utilized for warm-ups and cooldowns. Next on the list for cooldowns is the reverse lunge with an opposite side rotation. The reverse lunge of this exercise is going to be great for mobility and flexibility of the hips and the quads. And the opposite side rotation is going to be great for rotational core activation and stability of the rectus abdominis, the transverse abdominis, and the obliques. And it's going to be working the muscles that we killed to death within this strength power, and the muscles that are utilized within kicking, rotational movements, and punches. A great rep scheme for this exercise would be 2 sets of 10 reps, 5 reps on each side. And make sure to not have a too wide, too broad, or too short of a stance, and keep it all as one fluid motion. Next we have the lateral lunge, the side lean. The lateral lunge is great at strengthening the lower body muscles, especially your adductors and your abductors, which are integral for kicking motions. As well, the side lean is going to be great for stretching the obliques and help with core and rotational strength and movement within the erector spinae. A good rep range for this would be 2 sets of 6 with 3 reps on each side. And for the final exercise of this cool down and the final exercise of this strength power workout, we have the forward lunge with a cross reach. The forward lunge is going to flex and make mobile the glutes and the quads, which are integral for kicking and kneeing motions within Muay Thai. And the cross reach is going to work some of the posterior deltoids, a little bit of the lats, a little bit of the rhomboids, and it's also going to work on rotational mobility, especially within the erector spinae. And ladies and gentlemen, that is Murder, She Wrote. This has been a strength power lower body pull day. I hope you found this video informative, and I hope you guys have a great day.